So in today's video, we are going to be looking at the Zyber 8 because recently we have actually had problems with the Zyber 8 turning on and off, and I think it's maybe because it's not clean enough, and you can kind of see in there. I know it's not the best quality, but if you look in there, it does seem like there's a lot of dust within there, and that's kind of probably causing overheating. This goes back to our whole efficiency video where we tried to get the Zyber 8 to the most efficient that it could be. But I think it's actually gotten worse since we replaced the thermal paste underneath, because this board doesn't necessarily fit in to these stands here anymore. And that's not necessarily holding it in place, so I think some of the chips are overheating a little bit. But first thing we need to do is just clean the Zyber 8, and then we'll head over to overclocking it, which is going to be a little bit of a task because we don't really know what the best overclocks are for the Zyber 8, and it also doesn't really function like the other ASICs, as in you can't take it down and it has power draws up and down. It's quite random in the way that it works. And then the last thing that we might try to do is actually hook it up to our own power supply to get a more steady power supply, and the voltage will be correct. So the Zyber 8 uses this XT30 power supply. Don't know if you can get it to focus there. XT30 or XT60, I really never remember which one it is. But that is a way more steady power supply, and you can see that on the Gamma Turbo. And I think that this was the first of all of the miners to actually have that power supply. And if we turn it up here, you can see that's where it plugs in at the top. And it's just a steadier, more efficient way to supply power to the miner. But for whatever reason, when we check all of the figures, this tends to just turn off and cycle turn off every 12 hours, which leads me to believe it's overheating or something's going wrong, and then it's turning off, turning back on. But the only problem is it's also very hard to actually clean the Zyber 8 because of this LCD, as in if you want to, you kind of have to take everything off for a full clean. Today we're not going to be doing that, we're just going to be trying to take out some of the dust from the fan and the back fan, which you see here, which does have a lot of dust on it when you look in there, and the same for this fan in here. So I know you should spray it with isopropyl alcohol, but I'm not really too bothered. So we're just going to clean up the fans here. As you can see, quite a lot of dirt in there already. It's not really going to do much until we get a full clean on it, so taking off everything. But I thought that this would be a bit better just for the overclocking purposes, as we don't want anything really heating up in there. And we're just going to blow it out with some air later on down the line. So you can see how much dirt is actually coming out of these fans. I know it's not the most efficient way to really clean dirt off of anything. It's an easy, quick fix method just for the meantime, and then we'll blow it out. So the main point of this video is that we're trying to find a more efficient overclock for the Zyber 8, because at current times it's not really that efficient, but it's got a lot of terahash on it, so we'd like to reduce it. But I thought I'd make this dedicated whole video for it, because I don't know how many out there actually have a Zyber 8. It's a very niche thing, even more niche than like a Nerd Octaxe or a Nerd QX. So a lot of people have bitaxes and Nerd QXs, but they don't have a Zyber 8. So I thought I'd make this video. It's kind of a throwaway video, but you can see there's quite a lot of dirt that's coming out of that as well on this back fan. So let's clean that all up, and then we'll show you when we've cleaned it all up, and then we'll hook it up to the computer. I don't know how well you can actually see the fan, but we've cleaned it up a little bit better, and now that was only with a Q-tip, but this seems to be a lot better than what we were working with earlier, and hopefully we've got most of the dust out of there. These miners can pick up quite a lot of dust, so just be careful and clean your miners probably every 6 months and repaste the thermal paste. We normally tend to just leave this on the side there, but it's kind of made me quite aware how much dust these are collecting in the meantime. You don't really see it until you check your miner, which we don't really check the Zyber 8 too often because it's just sitting in the corner. But let's plug it in and give it a whirl right now. But everything seems to be working now, and we can head over. We're just trying to find the most efficient overclocks. I thought I'd give it a dedicated video just in case you guys wanted to see that. I know it wasn't really the best clean, we could have done a full clean on it, but it doesn't really matter in this sense because we're only trying to find the best efficiency, and then once we do that, we can actually go back and clean the full thing and repaste the thermal on the chips underneath, which last time we did it was around, I want to say 6 months ago. So it is kind of time to repaste this. It's just quite a task to take everything off and repaste it. And we also might look at a new cooler for this, because I know that this is a CPU cooler, so there might be potential to add a different cooler on top of this. But let's head over to the computer now. So currently, as you can see kind of in there, we are actually not hashing at all. So that's the reason that we kind of unplugged it, is because it's at 0 when you wait for it to switch. So it's at 0 hashes, 0 temperature, all of that, which I think is because the overclock is a little bit too low, but we need to head over to the screen and check it out now. Okay, so we are on the dashboard now and it is showing up, so it's available for us to actually access, which is always good. I don't know if these are actually the correct figures or it's just not hashing anything. And then when we go to settings, it's currently in eco mode, but I don't think that it's actually doing anything right now. It's not hashing away. So we are going to check the latest release of the bin right here. So this was December that the latest one was actually for. So let's exit out of that one. And I think we need to download the ESP miner.bin, which would be this one. And then obviously this one, which is the latest one as well. So that should be fine. And then all we need to do, I think we're gonna do probably the firmware first. That's a little bit easier. Okay, so the firmware is not working, which is great, but let's just update the website. I don't know why that's not pulling through. It's the exact same as this one. So that has updated the AXOS. I think we just need to update the firmware to the correct firmware now. Doesn't look like it's really showing anything. So yeah, I think it's just because the AXOS wasn't updated, we couldn't actually click this, but now we can. So after updating that, that's the only thing about the Zyber 8 is you can't run it off of the like OSMU GitHub because this is technically closed source. The actual miner is not open source, I don't believe, but you might be able to hear it starting back up now, which is a good sign. And it has started back up, so we can see if it's hashing away. So I know that the dashboard is not. So we're at 260 terahash, which is quite a lot actually when we're looking at it. It's great efficiency, but I think that that's obviously going to come down. There's no way that this is in terahash because you wouldn't get 300 or 800 terahash. I don't really know what's going on here, but let me just look at the miner now. It doesn't look like it's seeming to do anything. It's because this has changed. If we go default and then default, we can click save and restart. So they do have a lot of other new updates there, but that's more like it. So we have around 4.99 terahash, and that's actually a better efficiency than we were working with. I think we were at 20 joules per terahash when we previously had it. So they might have done some updates in the firmware, which make it a lot better. Currently pulling 78 or 70 or 87 watts, around that range. Temperatures are good. Hash rate register, which is a new thing that we're seeing here. So I think this is on your ASIC cores. So each core on the ASIC will have 4 different hash rates, and then you can see the map of that all displayed here. So you have 8 ASIC miners, 8 ASIC chips, and then you have your heat map of it. Pool, that's fine, we're mining to solo hash, and then don't really know anything else. ASIC temperature 2, don't really know what that's looking at because there's 8 ASICs. Voltage regulator, which is fine. Fan speed, both fans. and the frequency input voltage there. So the efficiency is climbing up. Let's go to the heat map. So I don't know why there's two options at the top there, but what we're working with here is these overclocks, and I'd like to actually take them down a little bit. We basically need to kind of chop off around 15 watts from the Zyber 8 to get it down to the correct efficiency that we're looking for. I actually quite like this heat map that they have here, which shows you which ones are doing what, because that allows you to identify if you have a chip that's really underperforming. I don't know what this error count means. So it says that error count 162, probably how many times it's errored in the past. And that's probably what the cycling we were seeing. So every 12 hours it was turning off and on, and maybe one of them errored, so it had to restart back up. We might have to go back in a video and see what binned ASIC models they are from, but we can do that at a later date. So main thing that we're probably going to want to do is chuck the core voltage down. So save, restart. I don't think you actually have to restart anymore, but I'm used to doing that. So let's watch all of these pop up. So 2, 3, 4 pop up at the start, and then we'll wait for the rest of them to come online. So maybe what we're having is that these are the best ASIC chips on there, and they can handle a lower input voltage, but the other ones need a higher one, hence why it's not starting up at that low of a voltage. So yeah, I think that that is the case. So if we go here and click save, let's see if these come online now. I know it's very loud in the background for the fan, so just gonna have to forgive that. Yeah, so that kind of confirms our theory on the ASIC. So some of them are really good and they just need a minimal amount of input voltage, but the rest of them seem to not function at that lower input voltage. And that's the reason that we can't get them all down to more efficient overclocks, is because only 3 or 2 of the chips are the best type of chips on there, and the rest of them don't seem to be functioning as well at that lower input voltage. But we can see here we're not actually hashing. Oh no, we are. It's just this is in terahash at 450 or 400 terahash, which is obviously wrong. So if we go back here and we go to the logs, so all ASIC chips are functioning pretty well. But that is kind of my theory confirmed, that the 3 chips on there, this 4, 3, and 2, are the best chips on the board, and the other ones need a higher input voltage to actually start up. And I don't think there's any way around that, but we could push the frequency up if we know what the minimum input voltage is, but that would also draw more power and make it less efficient. So we're going to have to go back to the drawing board on that, unless we up it from here to like 525, see if it can handle that. So they should all be operating at around maybe 180 gigahash. That one's at 200. These are all 180. That looks good. So we're at 5.2. Expected is 5.35 or 5.36. But efficiency is getting higher on that one, which means that we definitely can't find the correct overclock for that. And I think it's due to these chips just being kind of a different caliber to each and every chip on there. And our input voltage is also dropping off as we're upping that frequency. So might have to go back to the drawing board. We will let this run for a little bit, and then we'll come back maybe in 12 hours, see if it's stabled out, and then try some better overclocks. So for me, it'll be 12 hours, but for you, it'll be 2 seconds. So after letting this run for about 2 days, we've had a lot of errors on the Zyber 8, and I'll show you a video right now of what that looks like. It keeps turning off and on, cycling, so we still haven't found the problem. But if you guys can let me know in the comments if you have one, why this is happening, or why the hash rate register is being very weird with it, or it's just maybe that the chips are really bad. So I'll show you that video, but make sure you like this video and subscribe for more content like this, and let me know in the comments if you have a fix for this problem.